Hello everyone, I'm Dina.
And I'm Charlotte.
Welcome to the Grim Curriculum Extra Credit.
Hello and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday indeed.
Well, Wednesday if you're listening to it on the day it releases, but we always, well, for the most part, record on a Sunday, so
We
happy
do.
Sunday.
Yeah.
We've got a few cases / current events / things for you guys today that we've brought to the table.
We got some stories, and some of them are going to make you feel real sad.
Some of them are just going to have you raising an eyebrow. I guess I'll start off today's. Mine is just a little short one.
Okay.
But it's pretty shocking nonetheless. The Huffington Post article that I received most of the information on this case, the title of the article goes as follows. California man arrested for allegedly taking leg of person killed by train.
Dude, I heard about this.
Yeah.
There's a video.
That's why we're talking about it.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, I don't have the name of the poor unfortunate man who was struck by the train. He was killed, though, we can say that. But the video you're talking about, that is the video of 27-year-old Rosendo Tellez. Now, allegedly, although you can see it in the video, make up your mind for yourself, he took the man, or I should say, he took the man's leg who was hit by the train, and in the video he is seen gnawing on it like a zombie.
I saw a bunch of comments, so I watched the video because I was curious and I'm disgusting. But I saw a bunch of comments before I watched it that were like, oh no, he wasn't an idiot. He was just sucking on the toes, like all this stuff. And then I watched, I was like, he's eating that fucking leg. And it takes me back to, I think, oh my God, this was forever ago, like 2008 maybe, where the guy in Florida ate the dude's face.
Oh, and then the whole bath salts thing was a thing. Yes, very much so. So, unfortunately, the person who was killed about 8 a.m. at a local Amtrak station. And yeah, Buddy just wandered on over, grabbed himself a thigh, and walked away with it. What is going through your mind that you think that's the appropriate thing to do?
Right? So do we know anything about this guy? Was he on drugs? What's the situation? What do we know?
I can't say for sure that he is on drugs. Maybe I'm on grugs. Oh my God.
We all?
They did take Mr. Tellez into custody. He did have multiple outstanding warrants for other things. And obviously they charged him with taking evidence away from a scene.
You can't just take a leg and eat it.
Yeah, they did take him in without incident. He did not fight them, as you might expect someone crazy enough to be chewing on a human leg in the middle of the day to do. He went right with them. As the law enforcement officers arrive in the video, you see Mr. Tellez raise the leg up in the air and wave it around.
I didn't see that part of the video. All I saw was just like a really quick clip of him just like, and like.
Yeah, so the whole video, he goes in on the leg, he's chewing on it, he wipes his face, and then as police officers come in, he raises the leg up in the air and is subsequently arrested.
So when he raises the leg, is it like a, sorry guys, like here's the leg, or is it like, rah, like what is?
No, in my layman's opinion, I don't think he's acting like aggressive towards officers. It's more like when officers approach you and say, get your hands up, and you put your hands up, it just so happened that in one of those hands was a severed leg.
Oh my God. Ooh, can you imagine though, like you die in such a shitty way?
Awful. And like I said, we can't say for certain how our victim found himself on the tracks that day. That is still under investigation. So whether it was through actions of his own or whether it was purely an accident, we can't say for certain. But I will say, I agree, you don't deserve to have your bits and pieces taken away from the scene of your death. Oh my God.
I wonder if this was like a cannibal curiosity. I wonder if he was just like raging. But you're right. What goes through your head where you see this body and then you see a leg and you're like, I'm going to gnaw on that?
Well, like I said, can't say for certain at this point whether or not he was on drugs. I would imagine he was. That's just, again, my layman's perspective on the matter, because to me, a sober mentally stable individual does not behave in this manner.
You know, the crazy thing about the bath salts guy is years and years and years later, it came out that he wasn't on drugs.
Yes, I remember that. There was many cases where they were saying, oh, it's bath salts. And then, like I said, the scare of all these new and designer drugs are coming out and blah, blah, blah. And then, I heard that too, that it was like, oh no, tests show that he wasn't on anything at all.
I remember that happening at like so I started rewatching The Walking Dead. I don't know why. I don't know why. Just every few years I'm like, sure. And so I'm in like halfway through the first season, and I remember that coming out around the time that happened. And everyone was like, this is how it starts.
It's happening.
Zombies. And I was like, you know what? I could see it happening.
I think if it's going to start somewhere, it's going to start with some idiot thinking that he's a cannibal and spreading some weird disease to everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not how you get a leg ahead in life.
No, but something that I think would expect out of Florida. You expect this to be a Florida man story?
It's not.
No, California man.
Shit. California man's almost always way classier.
Yeah, not in this particular case. So yeah, guys, let me know if you heard about this. It literally popped up. Dean and I were talking about recording Extra Credit today, and within literally minutes, I had closed my phone. And when I was scrolling back through Twitter, this was one of the first articles that came up. It happened on the 23rd. I think we're, the 24th today?
Yes.
So it was like 8 a.m. yesterday morning that it happened.
To me, just the idea of you're a police officer, you're coming to this scene, you know you're going to see a body, which can never be a good way to start the day.
No.
But then you happen across a man eating a leg. Like, that's a hell of a day at work.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that to be like the first day for your rookie or something. Like, hey son, get in the squad car, we're going to a call.
Right? And then you have friggin' Hannibal the Cannibal, they're just mowing down on someone's thigh.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we hear about what caused him to make these choices on this particular day, whether it was drugs, whether it was mental health issues. Clearly, I think a combination of both. But yeah, that's about it for Mr. California Cannibal.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
All right, my story is depressing.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a happy ending, but I think anytime a unsolved case gets solved, that is positive. Unfortunately, in this case, the man who has committed the crime has long since died, but we have an answer to a cold case out of Missouri.
Okay.
And it is regarding the death of 22-year-old Shauna Harvey, who died on Halloween 1990, so a day after I was born.
Oh my God.
Super, super sad story. She was 22 when she passed away. She was last seen on Halloween, and it took months before they found her body. That was not identified until 2021.
Holy cow.
They initially referred to her as Grace Doe. They didn't call her Jane Doe because detectives said that they would only discover the truth by the grace of God.
Hey, if they believed in not jinxing it, I guess that's as good a way as any.
It's really, really sad because she had a terrible life. There is a quote here from one of the detectives saying, Shauna had a hard life. She was born in a car, set on fire by her mother.
Oh my God.
Had a failed adoption, and was in and out of foster care. Then she met the devil and was killed in such a horrific manner. They found the body of Shauna with a pantyhose ligature around her neck.
Oh no.
And it was because of that and because of the timing that the murder was originally linked to Dennis Rader, BTK.
Yes, absolutely. Many, many times serial killers have used pantyhose as a ligature strangulation method, which is so gross. I freaking hate that.
And BTK loved pantyhose. He loved wearing them. He loved killing with them. They were kind of his thing. There was another guy who was thought to be the murderer, and that was a piece of shit who was a suspected mass murderer by the name of Larry Hall. He's currently serving a life sentence for kidnapping a girl in 1993.
Okay.
But it turned out that neither of these guys killed her.
Whoa.
So very recently, they solved the case. They it wasn't one of those stories that they forgot about. They couldn't forget about her. They refused to give up on this case. So after she was finally identified in 2021, they just kept pursuing it. Now, BTK, the thing with him is he is very sick right now.
Oh, yes.
And so they have been interviewing him like crazy. His daughter is actually, we've talked about her a lot, Carrie. She is visiting him in jail. And they have it set so when she's visiting him, he waives all of his Miranda rights.
Wow. So they can literally take anything he says within those meetings,
Yes,
and use them. That's fantastic.
And what she's saying is it's the only way she's willing to visit him.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I mean, we, like you said, we have talked about her many times before. She is an absolute badass hero, and she's doing amazing work out there. It must be so incredibly difficult to go in to visit her father, Dennis Rader, but for her to be like, no, this is how it's going to be. If we're going to have conversations, they better be fucking helping someone.
Yeah. And she's talked about it on Twitter where she basically shows up with usually a bag of Doritos. And they sit down and they talk, and the information that he gives her has been what's been used to try to solve some of these crimes. He has been given immunity for any of the crimes that he is now admitting to.
Oh, wow.
But at the end of the day, he's going to die in prison.
Normally, my take on the matter would be no, fuck you. Doesn't matter if you're already serving life. You should still be sentenced for those crimes. In a way, it does seem a bit redundant since he already is there. But I understand in this case that he is pretty sick. And correct me if I'm wrong, has he not had COVID before as well?
Yes, he did.
So
he's not doing well. He's got, I believe he has cancer and a few other things wrong with him. If you look at recent pictures of him, he looks like shit, which is great.
He's not doing well.
I hope he's in pain. Fuck BTK. We're going to cover him. And I think we're going to cover him soon. It's a story that I really want to tell. However, I don't know if we're going to do it while he's still alive, because there's going to be more coming out about him in the future, I think. Because the thing with BTK is he was well known for committing all these crimes and then taking a huge cooling off period, larger than any other serial killer ever had. And now we're seeing there wasn't that big cooling off period. He just didn't get caught for those crimes yet.
Many times it has been said, and I've also wondered, were they really the cooling off that we thought? Were they really a break, or were there just victims that we never found or heard about?
Exactly. And that's what it is with BTK. So with Shauna Harvey, like I said, we do know that she passed away on October 31st, 1990. And the man responsible for her murder ended up being a local guy by the name of Talfie Reeves.
Talfie?
This is Talfie.
Oh, he looks like a winner.
Yeah, he's scary looking. So the investigation ended up spanning multiple states as they were looking for him, and they found out that it was Talfie. He died in November 2021. He was riding a scooter and a car crashed into him. And interesting, because the day before he died, he was arrested for driving without a license.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so his nephew, Derek Reeves, it must run in the family. He was also suspected of another murder.
Oh, shit.
So this whole family is just like hella concerning. But the really sad thing about it is obviously we're not going to see any justice because this guy's dead.
Yeah, and poor Shauna has been long gone for many, many years now. Does she have family that are still around? And because you said how much the detectives and law enforcement, strove not to let this case go cold.
She has a half sister.
Okay.
Now the really sad thing about her is when I was looking this up, she was killed at 22. There are no photos of her as an adult.
Oh my God.
No one took pictures of her. There are a handful of photos of her from when she was a little girl, but she really didn't have anyone looking for her or looking after her other than the investigators, which when we see cases like this, when we have someone who doesn't have a team of people pushing investigators to do their jobs, they usually get forgotten.
I was gonna say, it's very unusual to have her be like so many victims in the past where they haven't had good upbringings in the sense of like shitty home lives or bad parents or whatever.
Yeah.
To still have people out there fighting to find answers is kind of sadly unbelievable.
Right? It really surprised me, but they have these answers now.
Ugh.
In regards to BTK, I'll end off with him here. Since he was arrested, he has confessed to 10 additional murders.
Fuck.
He's 78 years old, and like I said, I think that his time on this planet is definitely running low. He has called this investigation, when they were considering him as the murderer, a waste of taxpayer money.
Oh, well, what the hell would he know about that?
Right. So he ended up waiving his right to remain silent. Like I said, he talked to investigators at length, and he has denied being involved in any other murders. He's actually been very open about what he's done and helpful. So I don't know. I'd like to think that he's going to be honest about the murders that he has committed, so some of these cold cases can be solved, but it's Dennis Rader. I mean, I'm not going to expect him to do the right thing ever.
In any normal circumstances where we were talking about a quote unquote normal person,
Yeah.
I might say something along the lines of, you know, he's coming to the end of his life. He's not doing very well. Maybe he feels the need to get some shit off his chest. Maybe he's remarkably feeling guilty. My big worry is, though, like so many of them that do, he's just going to lie and lie and lie right to the end. And he's
Yep.
going to tell things that he feels like it, and he's going to keep the things he's not. Because at the end of the day, if he dies in prison, it's over for him.
Yep.
You know, he can laugh all the way to hell, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I don't know, man.
We're going to keep you guys posted with Dennis Rader and any other confessions that he might have, any other cases that he's linked to, because there are quite a few. But yeah, I mean, he just keeps coming up again and again and again. And I hate that smug fucking mustache and face and his stupid bald head. And Charlotte called him an evil looking Dr. Phil off mic, and I can't unsee it. And
yeah, Dr. Phil, if he fell on very hard times.
Exactly. So, I mean, BTK, we're going to see what happens. We'll keep y'all posted. And yeah, rest in peace, Shauna, because I mean, that's no way to live, and that's a terrible way to die.
Absolutely. The story I have for us next is still to do with death, as many of them are on this particular podcast, if you haven't realized that already. This one actually takes us to a place that's a little closer to home for us, video games.
Ooh.
Although in this particular case, it's not a studio or a company that I was familiar with ahead of time. If you are out there and you're listening and you're familiar with Yuzu Games, that's YOOZOO, a mobile games boss has been sentenced to death in Korea for poisoning the billionaire founder of Yuzu Games.
What?
Yes.
Okay, so last week we covered the guy who committed the horrible mass murder, and he was an anime creator.
Yes.
And now this guy.
Yes. So
Oh my God.
On March 22nd, Zhu Yao was sentenced to death for the December 2020 poisoning of Yuzu Games founder Lin Qi. According to Shanghai First Intermediate People's Court, Zhu poisoned the food of the 39-year-old Chinese founder following a dispute over how the business was being ran.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Lin allegedly drank a cup of poisoned, and forgive my pronunciation, pu'er tea before becoming seriously ill.
Ooh.
And died about 10 days later. A few days after his death, Shanghai police detained Zhu, and he was determined the main suspect for the founder's murder. And over the past 4 years leading up to this point, they've been doing the investigation. They have convicted him of homicide and for releasing hazardous substances, for which he was given capital punishment.
Ooh.
A statement from the Chinese court has stated that 4 other people also took ill after drinking the poison teas in the office, but they thankfully did not die. Lin was basically heading up a subsidiary of the business related to it, and he was executively producing the series that the co-creators of Game of Thrones were producing. So he was very big and out there. But yeah, they had a disagreement, and that was it. It was over after a poisoning. Lin Qi, who was murdered, was estimated to have a net worth of about 6 billion yuan, which is about 952 million US dollars.
Shit.
So I'm sure the paperwork around his death was nothing to sneeze at. But yes, he was sentenced to death.
Wow. You know what? Like, I'm sure everyone on this planet has had that moment when they're like, I don't agree with what my boss is doing. You don't poison him.
No. And just, he got caught very fucking quickly.
Well, no shit.
So clearly he wasn't doing anything to really, hide the fact.
Oh my god.
But yeah, don't poison your millionaire boss, I guess.
Maybe just don't poison anybody. You will get caught.
Yeah, we're not talking about like Aqua Tofana back in the days,
right?
Murdering your husband and things. But yeah, of all the people to murder, you were not going to get away with murdering a billionaire tech giant.
Oh my god.
Lessons learned.
Speaking of murderers, I have a Gypsy Rose update.
Oh, Gypsy Rose.
So here's the thing with Gypsy Rose. While she was incarcerated, I think everyone was like, or most people were like, free Gypsy Rose. She shouldn't be here. She was brought up horribly. She was responsible for this death. She talked the guy into doing it, but maybe she doesn't deserve to spend the rest of her life in jail. Then she got out.
And it was very controversial.
Well, there was this like tiny little period of time where everyone was like, yeah, Gypsy's out. Like, oh my God, we stand a queen. Like, I saw so much of that.
Very much
and
so.
Then the excitement wore off when we got to know her a little bit better.
Yep.
And I had mixed feelings about the whole thing, but it was kind of interesting seeing her get out and live life and share that. And then she just like took over social media.
It's a very precarious position to be in because she went to prison at a very young age.
Yes.
And so those formative years of becoming an adult are spent in an institution where obviously your day-to-day is very controlled. You're in prison, right?
We just talked about this with Charles Manson.
Absolutely. You have a routine that you stick to. You go to work, you eat your meals, boom, boom, boom. Then she got out of jail, and it's like being free in a playground or like an amusement park with all the money and all the attention on you.
The amount of times I had to hear, that dick is fire, when she was talking about her husband, who looks like her mother for some reason. Like, there's that one guy who he started a series about like annoying his mom every single day by pretending to be Gypsy Rose. And he sounds just like her. There's a video of her, she's like on her bed and she's reading a book and he's under the bed and he pops up and he goes, that dick is fire. And she's like throwing shit at him. But Gypsy Rose wore out her welcome real fast.
Yeah, I think people who jumped on this sort of media meme TikTok firestorm that was her release and all the attention and being on talk shows and having interviews and all of this all encompassing eyes on her.
Yes.
And then we started to kind of realize, maybe there's something wrong with how this is being uplifted.
Maybe she's not a great person. So here's what happened. She is now off of social media.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So what originally occurred was that she had a lot of haters and she was going off on them online. And she made a video threatening one of them.
Oh, that's what it was.
And when you're on parole, you can't be threatening people, girl. And so her parole officer was basically like, listen, you're going to end up back in jail if you keep doing this.
Yeah, you're violating your obligations here.
Yes, absolutely. She was getting a lot of criticism and it was really bad. And she is not a media mogul. She doesn't know how to handle this. Gypsy Rose does not have a PR team. No. So she was just kind of doing her own thing. And she made an ass out of herself. So what she said here is, number one, to all the people that I offended with a lack of accountability the first month or so that I was out of prison, and the lack of accountability in my interviews, I'm sorry. I'm learning. I take accountability for my part, and I'm saying this right now. I'm taking accountability. I did a bad thing.
Fair enough. Yes, she is an adult, But she's an adult with a very different to most of us upbringing.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
said, spending most of your formative years incarcerated will change a person. And like I said, I think it was the kid in a candy shop thing. You're just going wild, and it takes an event like threatening someone on the internet when you're on parole
Mhm.
to be like, okay, I need to start acting like an adult, like a big girl now.
And the thing that I think really rubbed people the wrong way on top of everything was she talked about okay, first of all, she married her husband while she was incarcerated.
I always feel that's weird, but hey.
I agree. They got out, or she got out, and when you get out, you can spend some intimate time together. And she kept talking about it, and it was really gross. There is a quote from her where she was saying how he was rocking her world every night. And I'm just like, he looks like her mom. And once you like look up a picture of this guy, you can't unsee it. He looks like her mother. Like, it is so bizarre. It is the strangest thing. Have you seen this?
I can't picture what he looks like. I have seen him before.
Okay, I'm gonna just take a second and show you because it is insane.
There always strikes me as something very predatory
Yes.
when you are dating or married to someone who is incarcerated, if you were not married to each other prior to that incarceration.
Yeah.
Just because there's quite a power imbalance there, right? Like, one of you is a free human being walking around living your life, and one of you is a rat in a cage,
You can't
basically.
leave.
So that always gives me the ick. Oh dear.
He looks like her mom. It is so bizarre. Look here.
That's crazy.
He looks like you put glasses on her mom.
He certainly looks like he could be a member of the family, if
Right?
not the same person.
I don't want, like, look at him. I don't want to know that dick is fire. Like, ew.
No. Well, I'm glad that she had a kind of eye-opening moment when her
Yes.
parole officer was like, girl,
Stop it.
step your shit down or you're gonna be in big fucking trouble again.
She's gonna have private social media.
Fair enough. That is well within her right, in my
Yes.
opinion. To be honest, it is well within her right to have a public social media. However,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot more consequence to that.
Mhm.
And when you're under the strict rules of parole and your audience is millions of people, someone's going to catch you slipping up at some point, whether you mean to slip up or not.
Oh, absolutely. And it's someone who has not been prepared for this in any way. She jumped into the spotlight,
Yeah.
and it was the strangest thing to witness. But what I found the most interesting was watching that public perception of her just tank.
Changed overnight.
It really did.
But then again, it's interesting how the public perception of her was so high to begin with.
Yeah.
She was controversial. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe the whole like Munchausen's by proxy and all that kind of stuff, and that she was just an evil person who wanted her mom dead. There's that sort of party towards it. And then there is the party of very sympathetic that she did what she had to do to escape a very tragic and unfortunate and traumatizing situation. As always, the truth is probably somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But like you said, she's not a person accustomed to speaking to huge audiences. She's lived a very structured and sheltered, in some ways, life, being incarcerated all this time. She's got to take it slow.
And the weirdest thing for me was seeing, I feel like it was people that are younger than us.
Probably.
For the most part. But seeing these TikTok comments, people being like, we stan a queen. Yes, mother. Gypsy for president. Like, I'm just like, the fuck are you doing?
But we also see this with Eileen Wuornos, too.
We are seeing a lot of that, actually. We really are. And when we covered her, we saw that in a lot of the comments that we got, is she is now this strange icon, and it's a lack of knowledge that leads to this excitement, because at the end of the day, when it comes to Eileen, it's multiple people that are dead. But even with Gypsy Rose, first of all, we have a guy who is incarcerated for life while she's out.
That's the thing, is when she got out, people forget that the boyfriend who committed the actual murder, he's still in jail.
Mm-hmm.
He's still serving his sentence.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, maybe we don't like encourage and support and put murderers up on a fucking pedestal. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but like, I just don't understand the appeal. Like, to me, if you've killed someone, I don't think that you should be on the internet and having people clap at your fucking get ready with me videos.
Absolutely. And again, a slightly different case as well, but this now is making me think of Mary Bell, who we covered in the very, very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
committed atrocious murders when she was just a child. And when she got out, she went under several different names because people were out to get her. It seems like a very different case for Gypsy Rose coming out and, like you say, being uplifted and put on a pedestal. Yes, the situations were quite different. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some nuance there. But it's interesting to see now with the age of social media and where the trends come and go so quickly. Yeah. Within a week, something pops off and then next week it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so to see her kind of rise monumentally to crash down and get kind of canceled really is interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, she is out of the spotlight for now.
For her sake, I hope she remains that way.
I do too.
I hope she has a chance to seek therapy, which I'm sure she will be in. I'm sure that's probably a condition of her parole.
Yeah.
But to heal and become just a regular member of society who can live out her life.
Let her get an education. Let her get a job where she is not making money on the internet.
Yeah.
Maybe she can become a dental hygienist.
Something,
anything
secretary,
but that.
Whatever.
Yeah, sure, whatever. But maybe not a TikTok star.
I agree. Well, Gypsy Rose, we wish you the best.
Yeah, sure.
All right, what else we got?
I have a story that is going to make you feel real gross.
Okay, you do yours. Then I've got some slang words for us.
Perfect.
And then we'll wrap up with our strange and unusual death.
Let's do it. Okay. And then, after our strange and unusual death, I have a surprise for you.
Ooh.
And this surprise is going to get cut out of the episode, but the video will be on Patreon.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because I don't think it's going to work from an audio standpoint.
No, I guess not. I don't know.
You'll see. All right.
Okay,
so a man's body was in the city water supply for a month before it was found.
May I ask which city?
This was in Rochester.
Oh, Rochester, New York.
Yes.
Okay.
So, that sucks, first of all.
Yeah, well, you had me scared when you said the city, because I'm thinking this city.
Oh, no.
And it was like, Edmonton.
Wait. You're like, I had tap water here last week. Oh, my God.
Obviously, very unfortunate for the cedizens of Rochester, New York. Yeah. I'm glad it was you and not me. I'm just saying.
City officials are saying water's fine to drink. Don't worry about it.
I don't know about that.
So what happened was a man by the name of Abdullahi Muya was found last week in the Highland Park Reservoir after his body had been in the water supply for 25 days.
Oh, wow. So, like, directly in the reservoir, like, not floating down a river.
No.
Oh, no.
No. So what they're saying was that he had somehow been kind of in that area and he slipped and fell and died.
Okay. That's really sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. The city... they put out a water boil advisory saying, you know what, there's a dead guy in the water, boil it, you will be fine. They're saying that there is diligent and continuous testing and it's identifying no immediate concerns and the water advisory has been lifted.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, they're saying that, but they're going to empty the entire reservoir and clean it. So I wouldn't be drinking this water personally.
I would not be drinking it until they had given her a good scrub out and refilled her.
Yeah, exactly. So a quote here says, after entering the gated area at approximately 6:30 a.m., Mr. Muya appears to have slid down the side of the reservoir into the water where he tragically died. There was no one else present at the time of his death, and there does not appear to be any criminal element to the investigation. He was well below the surface of the 15-foot deep body of water for just under a month.
Ooh.
And yeah, so where he was, you couldn't see his body. So it took a while for them to find it. But they are questioning why it took so long to actually see it. And also, they are now concerned about the security measures being taken to prevent someone else from slipping and falling and dying into the reservoir.
Absolutely, because I feel like it shouldn't be so easy as you're just like, la la la, walking along, slip, whoop, now I can't get out.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're saying it's fine. They're saying drink the water. Would you?
No.
Me either.
My in-laws who live in Saskatchewan, they live in a really, really, really small town. And if you're from small town Saskatchewan, I'm talking real small. Like we're talking less than 30 people. There's
Oh my, okay,
like,
so
yeah,
yeah.
there's a post office that's open once a day. Like that's it. Not once a day, once a week. That's it kind of thing. Like
Wow.
real small. But they also have a water reservoir. And they, from time to time, have problems with raccoons
No.
going in and making a mess of things.
Oh.
And usually it's just them being, you know, little critters that they are and, you know, pooping and stuff. But occasionally one does get stuck and it wipes out the whole town. And I still wouldn't drink that water.
No, and the thing is, like, I understand our water is not perfectly clean.
No.
There's bacteria in
Yeah.
it, there's stuff in it all the time. I get that. But at the end of the day, like, a dead body for 25 days.
That is not only is that going to, like, at the very least upset your stomach,
Yeah.
that creates a whole lot of biological concerns in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, disease. A month is a long time to be stuck in any amount of water as a dead body. I can't imagine it. He was particularly pretty when they fished him out.
Right? And I don't think boiling the water is going to do enough. I just don't. Like, I'm glad they're cleaning the reservoir. I'm glad they're emptying it and all of that. But I think maybe just they shouldn't have allowed people to drink it at all. But I guess you can't just go to the city of Rochester and be like, hey guys, you can't drink water until further notice. There was a dead body found in it.
I wouldn't even want to shower or wash my hands in that water. No. I can't. The idea of getting my hair wet with that water.
Oh, with corpse water?
Does not make me feel good.
That can't be good for your hair.
This poor man, though, rest in peace.
Seriously, that's a horrible way to go. And to be found like that and to have it take so long before you're found, were people looking for him? It doesn't really seem like they were.
That makes me very sad.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Maybe if you're from Rochester, New York, you might have some insight on this.
Talk to us about it.
Yeah.
thegrimcurriculum@gmail.com. Drink some water. Tell us how it tastes.
Oh boy. Yeah, let us know if it's tasting clean. I hope it is.
I guess. I mean, really, I don't know.
Oh, from that pretty terrible story.
Cheer me up.
I'm probably not going to. But I'm not.
Okay.
Because we are the Grim Curriculum after all.
We are.
I have brought for you my lovely little slang dictionary.
I love this book.
I feel like it's backwards on the camera, but you know what I mean. I wrote. No, I didn't. I didn't write any of this.
You wrote the whole book?
Yeah, I sure did. Back in 1998 at the ripe age of 5. No, I read from this at our live show, and people seem to really love the slang dictionary terms. So today, I thought I would talk to you guys about a few words that mean death, or to die, or to have died.
Okay, so this is a little bit different than what we normally do, because normally Charlotte says the word, I guess the meaning, but these are all death related.
They're all death related, and honestly, there doesn't really need to be a game out of this. Some of them are just really funny. Some of them you guys will have heard before, I'm sure. It is kind of fascinating to me that we have all these slang terms for just about anything you can possibly imagine, but we definitely have a few for the dead and dying. So let me see what we've got here. So this one is a really good one that I liked for a cemetery.
Okay.
So sometimes a cemetery is known as the Marble Orchard.
Ooh.
Or the Marble Town. And obviously this is to do with the headstones being made of marble, but I like the idea of we're going down to the Marble Orchard to say hello to mom, or, you know, like, or
that's
whatever.
Way classier.
Absolutely. So the Marble Orchard is one for cemetery.
Honestly, that would be a really good, like, album name.
The Marble Orchard?
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a really good name for like a goth bar.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
someone has to do
The
that.
Marble Orchard goth bar. It's so the Marble Orchard word itself comes from 1929. Marble Town came around in 1945.
I like it.
Yeah. So on a slightly different term, there's only one slang term in my little slang book for this one. It's the slang word for rigor mortis,
Okay.
used by British undertakers, embalmers, surgeons. Rigor mortis, they shorten to rigmo. Can you imagine? Why is he all stiff like that? Oh, don't worry about it. He's got the rigmo.
The rigmo. Well, sorry, what year is that from?
This is 1966.
I love that. Rigmo.
Yeah, the rigmo for rigor mortis.
Oh
And
my god.
for those of you who don't know what rigor mortis is, when you die, there is a period. This is me simplifying wonderfully because obviously there's way more science to this. But when you die, there's a brief period of time in the decomposition process where your body just gets real stiff and your hands curl up, your toes curl up. If you're left in a position, your body locks that way. It does dissipate over time where your body will naturally relax again. But yeah, rigmo.
The rigmo.
I've got one more for you.
I think that's one of my favorite things I have heard in a long time.
Rigmo.
I really like rigmo.
A runner-up that I really liked was a term for a hearse from 1942. In an earlier sense, it was also used for ambulances, and that is the meat wagon.
I love the meat wagon.
It's not a hot dog truck, it's a hearse.
No, it ain't.
And from the last one, which I liked, we've all heard of like, she kicked the bucket or whatever. This one is, he hopped the twig.
He hopped the twig.
Now, this one goes all the way back to 1797, and the example they use is from Mary Bridgman in 1870, and it simply says, well, if old Campbell hops the twig,
we'll put him in the meat wagon.
I guess so, and then put him in the Marble Orchard.
While he's got the rigmo.
Yeah, I don't know. If
I love it.
If there's any phrases from where our listeners are in the world that you have, I know we Brits have many, 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 like we like our rhyming slang.
Yeah.
So like you could say like loaf of bread, which means dead.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
So like for example, well, because Cockney rhyming slang, you just rhyme things. So like apples and pears could be stairs. So like, oh yeah, he fell down the apples and pears stairs. Yeah, have you never heard of this?
No.
Yeah, so we like to like smush words together, or like oh my god, there's so many of them.
I have never heard of this in my life. I love it. That is nonsensical.
Yeah, so like and there's some of them that are like a 3-parter. So like if you don't know the whole, it's like a meme. You know how some memes are like 7 levels deep?
Yes.
It's like to explain it to you, you're never gonna get it.
Yeah.
That's some slang is like that too.
Oh my. Okay, for next extra credit, I'm gonna assign you some homework. I want more of these, man. I want to hear more because I have never heard that in my life, and I love it.
Oh my god, yes, I love Cockney rhyming slang. There's some good Australian ones too. They tend to like it as well. So yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. All right. So now that I've entertained and educated you guys over some death slang terms,
I honestly really I love the slang game. I hope you guys do too. If you want to hear more of it, let us know. She's got the whole damn book.
I do, and it goes by topic, and there's many, many things. Many things. I particularly like the body and its function section just because it gets hilarious. Actually, you know what? Before we go on, I will say, as I was reading through, looking for words to tell you today, I learned that the word tit, as in breast, goes back to like the 1700s.
Tit?
Yeah, like titties.
Holy shit. Can you imagine these dudes in top hats being like, oi,
tits.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, Anyway, I could go on forever. I won't. I'll save some.
Please do, because again, I love this book. I love everything about it, and it is just amazing. And also for next time, I want to know what a cow spanker is, because that's on the cover.
Yeah, if you guys are watching over on Patreon, there's a few examples. There might be backwards on the video.
Stonkered.
We've got fundy, grungy, doozy, stonkered. I'm pretty sure stonkered means like shit-faced drunk.
I could see that. Yeah, I get a little stonkered, aren't you?
Schnook.
VJ.
I'm pretty sure VJ is what we think it is. I don't know what an ozener, a blagger, I think, is someone that talks too much.
A wonga,
a cow spanker, or a slapper. Now, slapper where I'm from means like slut.
Really?
Yeah, like
she's a real slapper, ain't she?
She's a bit of a slapper.
She got the tits.
I guess. But anyway, yeah, if you guys have slang words for us, I want to fucking hear them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I will have plenty more for you where those came from.
That is amazing. Okay, it's that time of the episode. It's time for this week's strange and unusual death.
Woo!
All right. So this one takes us to February of 2020.
Oh,
so we did ancient last episode. I thought I would do something a little bit more current.
Okay, I like it.
This one is another one where there's a video of this.
Okay.
I've seen the video. Why do I do that? I don't know why I watch these things, but I get curious.
I have to restrain myself because some days I'm like, am I ready for this level of trauma? My brain does hold on to things.
Right? I'm just disgusting. And I'm just like, oh, let's click it and I'll watch it for 2 seconds and I'll exit out. And I never do.
Yeah. As they say, it's like watching a car crash. You just can't watch it, or you just can't look away.
All right. So 3 people died after dry ice was poured into a swimming pool at a party in Moscow.
Oh no, guys.
Now, because the people who were connected to this were very good friends with an Instagram influencer.
Oh boy.
This was put online.
Of course.
Now, her name is Yekaterina Didenko. She was celebrating her 29th birthday at a pool complex. And people were complaining that the water was too hot.
Whoever complains about the water being too hot in a pool?
Right?
I complain when the water is too cold.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
So what they did was they dumped a bunch of dry ice because the guests were exiting the sauna and they wanted it to cool down. And basically what happened is they went from the sauna and they jumped into the pool.
Oh my god.
And they started to choke and a bunch of them lost consciousness.
Yeah.
And 3 of them died. It was 25 kilograms of dry ice, so not a small amount.
Whoa.
And you can see her, so there's 2 posts. So in the first one, she's got the typical like birthday Instagrammer thing going on. She's standing there. She's got a balloon. One says 2, one says 9. Got a big smile on her face. Happy birthday. I love my friends. Da 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 da. And the second one is her in a video and she's obviously shaken. And she's talking about how her friends had gotten taken away by the ambulance. And 3 of them died. So just a suggestion, dry ice, it is made out of carbon dioxide. It'll fucking kill you. Don't dive into a pool filled with it.
Oh my god. Yeah. You know, it's funny. Cody and I were talking about dry ice this morning. I don't know why it came up. But we literally sat and had a conversation about how science matters.
It does.
If you don't understand the chemistry, you might die.
That's the thing. Like, people don't take this stuff seriously. And I know dry ice is like cool looking.
It is. But even in such small amounts, like you're not supposed to let it touch your skin because it will burn you.
Yeah. 25 kilograms of it in the pool. And you can see in the video, like the pool is like this. You've got them standing at the pool. The ice is there. And you can see the, is it still smoke? Would you call it smoke?
The vapors,
The vapor, yeah, sure. You can see the vapor rising. And so when they jump in, like you can't see anything, but you see them jump into this pool and just not come out.
No, that's so freaking bad. That's right up there with like mixing the freaking cleaning chemicals you have under your sink. Like, don't do that, first of all. Like, don't do that. Don't fuck with chemistry if you're not a chemistry kind of person.
Yeah, so when you're cleaning your bathroom, like, have the door open, have the fan on, check what you're cleaning with.
Yeah, don't be mixing bleach and ammonia and Drano.
You don't need to be like hallucinating while you're cleaning the toilet.
And slowly dying because the oxygen is getting sucked out of the room.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus
So
Christ.
rest in peace to all of those people. And sometimes you did it for the gram and it just wasn't worth it.
I mean, as Philip DeFranco always says, don't be stupid, stupid.
Yeah.
Frick. Okay.
All right. Well, I have a surprise for you.
Oh, yes, surprise.
Okay. So those of you listening, we're going to cut out and we're going to get back to this later. If you want to see the surprise, go to patreon.com/thegrimcurriculum because this can be fun. I hope. All right. So for those of you listening, you just, if you didn't get to see it on Patreon, you missed out on my little surprise for Charlotte. That again is patreon.com/thegrimcurriculum. You can join it for as little as $3 Canadian a month.
Mm-hmm.
You can join multiple tiers. We have, I think, 3 now.
Mm-hmm. We have a Discord as
yes,
well.
The Discord is a lot of fun. And if you join the top tier, we will say your name at the end of each episode, which I love that little list.
I do too.
So with all of that being said, thank you all so much for listening. This has been the Grim Curriculum Extra Credit.
I guess I could have said extra credit too, since we're in person.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all.
I'm leaving this in.
Thank you all so much for listening. This has been the Grim Curriculum Extra Credit.
Woo!
Woo!